My name's Chris.
And I'm Kristie.
This is the Washing Up Podcast, and it's Queensland week.
What's cracker-lackin'?
Oh, fuck.
It was a cracker of an episode last night.
So much cracking. There was cracking, and there was lots of cracking, and then there was a fucking fire.
Burn it all down.
Now you know what you're going to do, lad. Burn it. Burn it all. So it was Queensland week, and again they decided to bring the fine sunshine inside the vans.
Beautiful one day, scorchingly on fire the next.
And thank you, Gary, for giving us a beautiful one day perfect the next reference
within
in the first minute, which got the drinking game well and truly underway this week. We went for a couple of Queensland cliches, and so far they're delivering. So good for them, and well played, everybody. And thankfully, when Tim, departed this kitchen this evening, he hit the food truck dream one on the way out the door.
Oh yes, thank you, Tim.
So Tim again playing along and helping out the look. Right up front, I'm going to refer to Tim as the pace car.
He really is.
So when we say the pace car, what we mean by the pace car is in Masterchef, because it is so bloody long.
Yeah.
And feels like it never ends. You pick a contestant early who's kind of the one that gets mentioned every 2.5 seconds. And they get all the screen time and all the focus, and they become everybody's sort of...
Narrator.
The narrator or the darling. Aldo last year was kind of a bit that. Like he was a bit... Aldo was everywhere.
Yeah, but for Aldo, you honestly knew that he was there for a good time, not for a long time.
Yeah, he's Aldo. He's like the buzzing of flies. You are like the buzzing of flies to him. But Tim is the pace car in every sense of the word. They put him out there up front as he's the guy, and they went so hard on that tonight he wasn't the guy.
Look, to be quite honest, I think he was surprised he lasted this long, and with the wedding coming up and Megan expecting... He had to get back to Westminster for his royal duties. So, apparently he's back in the garden. I presume that's the Chelsea Flower Show or Kensington. Euphemisms.
We'll come to what happened, because this is going to sound weird to people, but I have a huge amount of sympathy for Tim.
Yeah, what kind of fucking challenge was that tonight?
One, the challenge was stupid, but two, as we'll get to when we talk about last night's episode, I don't think he should have been there in the first place.
No! Okay, they got the British food truck.
I think there's some other people who we'll get to in a moment who really should have been there.
Yeah.
And I think that George and Gary and Matt did a really good job in creating some narratives. And I think this episode is the first time all season that it's really felt to me, I don't know about you, but it's felt to me like the judges have started to create their narrative.
Yeah.
And they know what they want, and they know who they want, and they started to build around it. And you could see tonight, for example, in the judging, they were really trying to influence Shannon. Yeah. To go along with what they were thinking,
but right up until Tim didn't. Were shit.
Right up until Tim didn't read the script and serve them something where they just all went, "Oh, we can't do that. No, we can't."
I mean, his quenelle was melting as we watched,
and it's not a defense of Ben even. And people go, "Oh, you're defending." Look, Ben's fun.
We are biased to a certain point.
Look, Ben's fun, but I'm not going to sit here and go necessarily that I think
he's the next winner.
No, but. There was quite clearly a narrative being built. Anyway, we'll get to that. Let's start last night with a beautiful one day, perfect the next Queensland.
Yes, let's go on the Brisbane River.
Let's go to the Story Bridge.
Yes.
Because that looks...
like a story. It's like something out of a fairy tale.
Look, I used to spend a fair bit of time up here.
Cinderella walked across before she went into the pumpkin.
I used to spend a fair bit of time up here.
It's the one that Red Riding Hood went to before she ate a wolf.
I used to spend a lot of time in Brisbane, and it just looks like some fairy lights. It's not that grand. I'm sorry, Queenslanders, if you're very defensive about the Story Bridge, but it's not much of anything really.
I know. You know what they really should have been in front of?
What?
They should have recreated the Queensland Pavilion at Expo 88.
Let's get into it.
I heard that was fantastic. Not that I could ever see it, because apparently the line was too long. The line wasn't...
Celebrate
The line
good
wasn't
times. Come on.
too long for that stupid fucking water show with that fucking song that played every 5 fucking seconds. Like, how much did Kylie Minogue get paid to sing that? No! It was a foreshadowing though, because we rode a monorail up there. Oh, and I got a little poodle balloon animal.
So it was a celebration.
Yeah. So there was some good times. It wasn't all horrible Expo 88, but...
That's why you referred to it frequently as Expo Haiti Hate.
Yes, Expo Haiti Hate.
So it's the first thing that popped up that they went, oh, we're in Queensland this week, and I looked at Kristie and went, oh, good, Expo stories. So...
Like when we stayed in Caloundra and Mum got really sick, so she couldn't come along. We'd driven all the way to fucking Queensland.
She missed out.
Well, they drove to Queensland and we caught a plane.
Why did they drive and you caught the plane?
I have no idea. I think they couldn't stand being in, like, they're like, oh my God, the kid's in the car for 12 hours. We'll just fucking pay for them to fly out.
Why did they fly you and drive? That is weird.
It's the first time I got to go on a plane, though. I was quite excited. Well, my older sister, Michelle, had to put up with this, though. She's like 11 years she was only 19, and she had to put up with it. I know. God help her. She was only 19. Taking like an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old, like, that's fucking madness.
That's nuts.
Poor Michelle.
And look, that's not too far from where the Queensland Pavilion was.
No.
And that was like the other day. We were actually on YouTube watching a range of random things, as you do. It's YouTube. That's what it's there for. There's
rabbit holes to explore.
And down one of those rabbit holes, we watched the opening ceremony to Expo 88.
Yes, we did.
It was amazing because we were watching the mini documentary thing on the McBarge in Canada at their expo, and that led us to Expo 88 footage, which was great. And we're like, oh look, there's the Queensland Pavilion, which by the way is a church in central Queensland now. For all those people out there who are thinking of going to the Queensland Pavilion, turn to God. So. Or don't, really. I don't care.
I don't know. What if it's one of those fire and brimstone we hate homosexual
to be fair,
churches?
It's in central Queensland. It probably is.
Yeah.
Don't go there. All right, so we got into it and they did this. My favourite part of the opening was where they did their big speech about how amazing Queensland Week was going to be, and the fireworks went off, and I looked at Kristie and I went, either they've paid a lot of money for fireworks or they waited till Riverfire was on. And they've just timed it.
Like, guessing the latter.
I like the idea that they've said that line for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like in The Simpsons and the Lisa Simpson gets married episode and the flash forward in the future. Can't all be fireworks. And nothing happens, and eventually the cow has to walk out with the back out option of marry me, Lisa. But it was kind of like the idea of they pointed and nothing happened, and they pointed and it's going to happen. Pointed and eventually it happened. Can you edit that together? Yep, cut it all.
What I thought was hilarious is when Tardy's excitement, I'm like, oh my God, it's like Tardy's never seen fireworks before. Cut to Tardy saying, I live in a rural town, we don't get fireworks. And I'm like, oh, I feel a little bad. Sorry, Tardy.
And thank you to all our Queensland listeners who are like, oh God, no, there's fireworks up here every week. It's like
Clive Palmer. He's just there letting off fireworks, reminding Australia to be, make Australia great again. Fireworks every night.
He's throwing his money out the window, so, he might as well.
He's like, he's in the backyard blowing off thumbs with bungers. Catherine Wheels to burn your genitals.
Catherine Wheels to burn your genitals. I can't make that the episode title, but you have no idea how much I want to. So,
and I've got the episode title, but we're not there yet. We're coming there,
yeah. We know where we're going with it. So, Abby didn't read this week's game card.
No.
Because she called everything beautiful again. And like every 2 seconds, it was beautiful, 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 beautiful. Abby, I took that off this week.
I know, we went for things that we thought would give everyone a reprieve, which is like, Waleed says more than 3 words.
Yeah, that one's going to be a safe bet. I don't think we're going to have to worry about that one somehow. So, meanwhile, just quickly, and we'll get to it in a bit more detail when we talk about the second episode, but for someone who was in an elimination, Ben hardly got a word in.
Tim didn't even fucking notice him when he went to his bench, and there's Tim like, I'm not even trying to ninja at this point.
Sorry, mate. He didn't even. The ninja skills were so good. He didn't know he was there. So Abby. Look, I'm not going to lie. Abby was still in Nigella Stalker Week mode.
I think that's just Abby's modus operandi.
It's terrifying. She didn't start out like that. It's gotten worse.
And I think it got a bit more worse last night because she wasn't included with the Cracker Girls. I mean, it's Cracker Week, so you've really got to inject the cracker. So we had 3 blondes from Queensland walking in. Now, I love Tessa Ketty. Then you got Nicole. Then you got Christine, who's quite lovely. All walking arm in arm like, oh, we're back in our natural environment.
Christine is like, the moment I touched down, I thought, oh, I'm back home. And it's like, well...
You live at an airport?
Yeah, like, is that where you live on runway 6? Why did I say runway 6? There's definitely not 6 runways at Brisbane Airport. There's 2. The things you know. But it's... Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You had an ex-girlfriend in Brisbane, didn't you?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
I spent a lot of time in Brisbane. So, the largest country town on the planet. So, it really is a country town. I was disappointed with Sandeep. Let me explain before you all go, oh, you're just picking on his food. No. The reason I'm disappointed with Sandeep, he looked at his coconuts.
Yeah.
He was cracking coconuts, and he was staring at them. Now, if there's one thing the MasterChef credits have taught us, it's that Sandeep doesn't look when he cracks a coconut.
No.
He stares into the middle distance, smiling and laughing while cracking coconuts, and I don't like the fact that somebody's lied. Now, did they lie? Did Sandeep pretend to look at the coconut to make everyone feel better? Or did he pretend to crack a coconut? I don't know. I don't know which it is, but somebody's lying to me. I can't imagine it would be the good people at MasterChef.
No,
they don't lie.
Sandeep. He's just
Sandeep must
lying
be
about his coconut
He's
skills.
like, I need to look at the coconut here. I don't want everyone to know I'm that good.
He's the coconut whisperer.
The coconut whisperer is just the coconut smasher. So the idea was it was supposed to be things
Why'd you go smasher and not cracker? The coconut cracker. It's alliteration. It's right there in front of you. It's the whole fucking point of this challenge. And I like how they're like, oh, everything looks a bit beige. Yeah, because you're cracking everything open, so the pretty shit is on the outside, and you're just using what's on the inside of what you've cracked open. It's not like you're cracking open a mango or fucking strawberry, you know, things that with colour and stuff. It's like you crack shit open, it's usually a seed, and what's on the inside of a seed or a nut? Beige. Coconut? White. Crab? White.
Kristie?
Yes.
Talk about oysters.
Oysters are fucking amazing, and this is the only thing that was really I thought was like okay to have in the challenge last night was oysters, but what they were missing was bacon. So I was cool. It was Abby, wasn't it, who did the oyster? No, it wasn't Abby.
Abby the grenada.
Yeah, with the grenada on the oyster with the pork crackling, which I thought was a nice take on Oysters Kilpatrick, but you know what, still not Oysters Kilpatrick.
I thought it was shit. And the reason I thought it was shit is because it didn't feel like the elements made any sense together.
Oh, no, they didn't. She's just gone...
It was batshit crazy. I'm going to put a grenada on an oyster, and then I'm going to put some pork crackling over the top of it. But the pork crackling was sort of draped just over the plate in general. So it was basically bribing Gary by having crackling on a plate.
Yeah.
Which it feels like it's getting... Look, pork is getting old. They're doing... And poor Khan last night on Twitter reacted to this. I said, they're killing one of my favourite dishes.
Yeah.
They're murdering pork belly.
Let's think about some other proteins they could be using. Lamb.
Oh, Tim uses a lot of lamb.
Beef. Chicken.
I'm going to suggest...
Duck.
I'm going to go out of a limb here. Are they avoiding beef because they're big in India?
No, they wouldn't do that. Don't give me that look.
They do that. They really would do that.
Yeah, then what do you call Derek last week? You know, making ribs with fucking ribeye.
Clueless. It was ribs with a ribeye. The answer is clueless.
I think, like...
We went through that on the podcast.
Again, there's still more proteins out there.
Now...
Quail.
Oh, there's tons of proteins
Pheasant.
out there. I was really...
Grouse.
I was really interested...
Spatchcock.
You're going to just say the words over and over again, aren't you? I was... the glimpse you got of Joe last night...
Pigeon.
I've had pigeon. It's shit.
Wood hen.
So, Joe last night didn't get much screen time. but was clearly still steering into the skid on the borrowed nonna. He was making pasta again.
He was.
Now,
do you think Joe just wants to be a nonna? When Joe goes, we're going to find out when Joe's eliminated. Joe
went on to be a nonna.
Yes.
Joe broke up with his girlfriend. However, he still hangs out with her mother, and he has his nonna.
Yes. Joe is pursuing his dream of becoming a nonna.
So
we have Mama Joe, now we have Nonna Joe.
Mama Joe and Nonna Joe.
And that's how we're going to differentiate them from now on.
Mama Joe, Nonna Joe. Done. So, Matt, let's talk about Matt Preston's suit.
Well, I just felt like someone had said, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. And Ali came,
shake,
showtime.
Shake, Sonona, shake your body line.
Work, Sonona, work it all the time.
Jump in the line.
Rock your body in time. Okay, I believe you.
That's, they'll want royalties if we keep singing. So, it was kind of...
Yeah.
It was a bit of a shit challenge.
Daylight.
I'm not going to lie. It was a bit of a shit challenge.
I thought it was... Oh, the Kraken challenge.
The Kraken challenge. We're going to get to the trucks in a minute. But the Kraken challenge I thought was a bit shit.
I think if their Kraken challenge actually involved a Kraken...
That would have been great.
Like just rising out of the Brisbane River,
the challenge,
huge tentacles.
The challenge should have been...
down the
Look, what we've learned...
Story bridge, grabbing like George and like smashing him onto the side of the river edge.
You've had this fantasy before, haven't you?
Maybe.
I think the Kraken thing... Look... Some people are going to go, that wouldn't have worked. It's a cooking show. I point at tonight's challenge and say, it's not a cooking show. Cooking's got nothing to do with it. It's like tonight was a memory test. So I think wrangling a Kraken, that's a valid challenge. Because whoever does it, think of the calamari.
And like, why can't we get more mythical creatures in? Like, why not a chimera next time?
Hard catch.
Yeah, Griffin. Hardcore Harry Potter fans probably be upset with
Griffins
that.
Are too adorable.
Yeah, although they're very... I'm a Hufflepuff anyway. What else could we get? Sphinx, they're not so nice. They'll just tell riddles and they're really fucking annoying.
You can't start cooking your dish until you solve the Sphinx's riddle.
Yeah.
What has 4 grills in the daytime, 3 grills in the evening? So... They served up their meals, and again, we didn't hear the end of it because Abby's was good. They loved it. Oh, this is original and amazing and brilliant and all that crap.
And Tati made croquettes.
Which she's done either a croquette or some form of spring roll or wrap a few times now. And I love Tati. But we are calling people out on doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, but she didn't have much to work with there.
I know she didn't have much to work with, but again...
Could be worse. She could have made a pasta.
She could have made a pasta. You've got to have a good pasta recipe to make a pasta.
Yeah.
So that's probably the problem. If only she could find one, that would be good.
Jump on Instagram, Tati.
Yeah, see if you can find one on there. There's also, Sandeep made something that was curry-ish. It wasn't a full curry this time.
I felt sorry for him because there was nothing to curry it up.
Not really. He was trying, but not really.
He's like, I've got coconut, I've got crab.
Let's make a coconut crab. Not that one. That's a coconut crab. Now, Tessa Ketty. Tessa Ketty served up a very... What's the word I'm looking for? Meh dish.
It was beige.
It was the definition of beige.
Like, how shit was everyone else's dish? I love Tessa Ketty, don't get me wrong, but she was not on fire last night.
And they were talking up what a great simple food effort that was, and I'm like, it was boring.
Do you think someone tried to garnish with a bit of the grass and they've gone, nope, you can't add that, couldn't crack that open? Like, they just wanted a bit of greenery on the plate.
As George Columbaris walked past, I might have hit him in the head. And as his skull cracked, I would have gone, great idea, and served brains out of the skull.
You don't want to waste any part of the animal.
As we learnt from Sandeep the other night, you don't want to waste any part of the animal.
No.
The tweezers can be used, for example, for multiple purposes. Micro herbs everywhere.
Love me some good old Medalla.
So we got our winner going straight through to the immunity challenge last night. And it was Simon, who went with the whitest salad. It was so white a clan rally would have gone.
That's the kind of salad we need.
Yeah, you can dial it back a bit. Actually, we don't need to be that white.
Look,
It was a very white crab salad. It was a crab salad without, as they said, any salad element in there.
It was so white it couldn't jump.
Yeah, it couldn't jump. Tried, failed.
Yeah.
And even Simon looked thoroughly confused as to where to walk and where to stand. Like, Simon was like...
He did a weird little jog over.
Yeah, it was unusual.
And over here.
So then they announced...
It was like a little kind of gallop, where your head goes in. It was like a 5-year-old.
So then they announced that it was going to be a challenge with the knife block, and there was a draw,
Yeah.
and they'd be in teams. And what they would be doing was serving customers. And they
I'm
pointed...
thinking, yeah.
And the food truck's rolling. Now, there's a couple of elements to this. And the first one you can start with.
How fucking late was it? Because, it was obviously filmed in summer. Okay, granted, Queensland doesn't have daylight savings, but only saves them half an hour on the eastern seaboard. So, what is this, midnight food truck markets?
Well, the thing is, a couple of people were like, oh, maybe they filmed it over 2 nights. No, it was quite clearly filmed in the one night. So, it felt weird. Really weird.
Particularly when, Queensland locals are going, 400 people in Brisbane on a night at night time.
Brisbane's closed by that point.
Crazy talk.
7:30 at night, Brisbane's closed.
It's like Sydney at 9 o'clock at night on a Saturday night.
Now, they did announce that what they were doing was...
tumbleweeds.
Well, what they announced they were doing was that they were cooking for, again, all the money would go to a charity.
Yep.
Which was great because it gave everyone a chance to nod solemnly.
First bite.
First bite, and everyone nods very solemnly about first bite. What it also gave us was the opportunity...
second bite, not first bite.
Fifth bite. Mega bite. It's all about...
Infected bite.
Internet piracy.
Mosquito bite.
More importantly...
saving people from malaria.
More importantly, it gave us one of our Abbyisms for the evening.
Oh, please tell us.
What do I see coming into shot? But I see a truck. And it's not just any truck.
It's a fire truck. Oh, sorry.
That's later. It's a food truck.
You know what? You should just shorten that to a fuck.
Thanks, Abby.
Just food truck, fuck.
Thanks. We needed that, Abby.
You could say fruck, but that sounds weird. Just say fuck.
We really didn't need the depth of your knowledge and planning was not very good. Now, they all had to knife draw, and then they all had to pick... There was a cuisine attached to the knives. So you had Chinese. You had Chinese, you had American. You had...
British.
You
South
had...
American.
South American? Yeah, it was South American, yes. And the other one was...
Vietnamese?
Vietnamese, I think it was.
Yes, because the pho that we...
Oh, yes, the pho, yeah. How do you spell pho? I so wanted to write F-U-R. But anyway. Now, there were a couple of elements to this challenge that were ridiculous. Now, first of all, Prince Harry got British. And
I told you it was rigged.
And he got Ben.
Yeah.
So Ben was in a weird spot last night because on one hand they don't like showing him.
No.
But on the other hand he was with a person they can't stop showing.
Yes. They're like, damn it.
That really... And you could tell all night that was messing with them. And even Ben started making the Prince Harry joke, which was really self-aware of him. You had the Chinese, which was Derek and Abby. What a van.
What a van, what a van, what a van.
What a mighty van. Oh, it was Korean was the other one.
Korean, that's right.
Remember, because Nicole's been to Korea, you know.
Yes.
I've been to Korea, for fuck's sake, Nicole.
She was that student in Year 8 who'd, I've been to France. Here I am, so French. I've been to Korea, and I'm so Korean. And next year, I've been to Uzbekistan.
Oh, so it was Becky. Not now, it was Becky. So...
Shut up, Uzbeki! I know where you live. My house.
So I know where you live, Becky. My house.
It was Becky because I was making that joke.
I know. I just love that line.
Come on. Just... Anyway.
Are you telling me to move on?
Yeah. No.
The handbrake is telling me to speed up. So of these challenges, let's quickly flick through a couple of issues that each van had. In the Korean van, the problem was they made bulgogi that wasn't bulgogi.
No, but
I love bulgogi beef, and it wasn't.
I don't. I was down for those wings, though.
The wings looked amazing, but the steak just looked like marinated bits of steak with like seasoning that was vaguely. And what upset me the most was I had to agree with something that Gary said when he tasted it. Well, it's not bulgogi.
Just randomly marinated meat.
It was just random steak. So
it was a mistake.
It was a mistake.
Okay, I have to say, in our random town that we live in, on Menulog, there is a place called Fantastic. And I was really excited by it, and I was looking through, and can I just say, for a place that's called Fantastic, they only serve one type of steak. And it's a different type every night, so you can't even pick what steak you want.
Is it fantastic?
I have no idea, because I'm not fucking ordering from a place that bases its whole pun on a specific protein, then offers things like seafood and chicken, and more ranges of seafood and chicken than it does for the whole fucking protein that's in its pun name.
Just do what I do and order the burger from the other place with brisket and macaroni and cheese on it.
Okay, so, back at the ranch.
Much better. So, speaking of burgers and ranches, American team. So... We thought they should have gone with the wide range of flavours that you can only get in Albuquerque. Instead, they went with, okay, so let's, for the purposes of the podcast, let's call it chili.
Yes, let's think of a few other things that you could have made instead of making...
Well, let's call it chili first, and then we'll come back to what they could have done.
Okay, let's put it in inverted commas.
No,
commas.
It's inverted commons now.
It's inverted commons.
It's uncommon. That's an inverted common. Anyway, so the problem...
It's the house below the House of Commons.
The house below the House of Commons, the inverted common. So they referred to it as savoury mince. They referred to it as bolognese.
Did you have savoury mince growing up?
Yes.
We didn't, thank fuck.
We had lots of savoury mince growing up.
Oh, dear.
Savoury mince and lots of bread and butter. That was a mum special.
Oh. Love you, Glenda.
Yeah, I learnt to cook.
Never cook me that.
I learnt to cook.
Glad you did.
Oh, yeah. So,
Although she can cook me that because my mum cooked you our stroganoff.
God.
And I use that in inverted commas as well.
I don't touch that stroganoff. The first time it was ever made for me, I just looked at it. I think I had half a bite of a piece and realised that I liked my stomach lining and didn't want it returning out my mouth. So...
Back at the ranch, what were they cooking?
Back at the ranch.
With the chili.
The chili, which looked pale and insipid.
And, like, real chili needs some time and some love.
Now, Sandeep...
And some spices.
Now, Sandeep, of all people, should be able to balance spice and flavour.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a disappointment that he couldn't. What was more of a disappointment was the judges deciding that making a basic set of crunchy wings was enough to be brilliant.
Yep.
Don't get it? Felt like they were creating a narrative.
But you know what they said? That they jointed those wings, and that's what set them apart from the Korean wings that weren't jointed.
They're not supposed to be.
And can I just say, when I get wings, like buffalo wings, different story. But normal wings, I love them full because, like, that end bit, like, what do they do? They just get rid of it, and that's the best bit. You know, you've eaten the mini drumstick and you've eaten the 2-bone wing part, and then you get to the tip, and, you know...
Once you've got to just the tip, it's great.
Just the tip is beautiful. Delicious. Yes. Put it in your mouth and nibble on it.
Anyway.
Underrated.
Anyway, so... of the others, let's talk about the Chinese group. So, Derek and Abby.
Yep.
Now, they were planning their menu.
And I am surprised, but I think all of us were that Abby didn't immediately look at her appliances.
Well, yeah, that was the staggering thing.
The equipment.
Was the queen of equipment, Abby, did not look at her equipment to remotely assess the situation. Now, normally she would have just pulled all those baskets that were over the fryers and like put them on a bench, and then put something else over the fryers, and then moved. And she didn't do any of this. Now her and Derek are planning out their dishes.
Yep.
And the judges came in and went, "You've got 6 deep fryers.
What are you doing?
Why are you not frying anything? Like, that's just stupid." And they both looked at each other and went, "Oh yeah, we should probably fry something, shouldn't we?" Now, later on in the judges went, the team that was the best team, blah, 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 was the Chinese team, and that was because they were really clever with the way they decided to fry food. Now, the food they made looked great and looked fantastic. No arguments there whatsoever. The statement I had a problem with was when they decided to use the deep fryers. And by decided, we mean the judges came in, pointed at 6 deep fryers and went, "You need to use those."
Yeah.
And they went, "Oh yeah, we can do that."
We should use those. And I have to say, they were like, if their noses didn't grow after this, when the judges came up and said, "Okay, have you done a tester on your spring roll?" And like all of us on Twitter are like, "Have they? Because I haven't seen one." And then they pull up one basket and there's one sad-looking spring roll sitting there.
It was soggy. It was drooping. It was oily as all hell.
And then, like, Derek grabs it with the tongs and crushes it.
And it, like, bent. It didn't, like, snap. It just bent.
It really did look like food court spring rolls.
And they were saying,
at the end of the day,
"Oh yeah, look, we've done
10
them
for $2.
They're like, "We've done them. Look, see, it's beautiful and light and crunchy and fluffy and not at all oily." And they're holding this thing up, and it's dripping, and it's dripping and dripping, and I'm like, no.
Like, what came out later
That
looked delicious.
The tester looked horrible.
The tester was like, "Oh, it's so delicious." It's like, it's really not.
It's when someone's trying to talk you into the idea that this is really good for you.
Like, come on, just try a little bit. You'll be fine.
You'll be fine. Now we need to...
You really like blood pudding.
No. So we need to talk about the British team. So, in particular...
Yeah.
We need to have a little bit of a talk about baked potatoes. So, question.
Yes.
Kristie.
Yes.
If I said to you,
Yes.
I'm going to serve you a baked potato, a loaded baked potato,
Yeah.
what would you anticipate being on that?
Bacon, sour cream, chives.
How would you anticipate that was being served?
In a bit of foil.
Okay. So all the things you've said so far are wrong.
Oh.
Because the judges last night...
Oh, that's right.
Made it... First of all, this was after they'd tested... After they'd had Sandeep and Tatis.
Yeah.
So they had Sandeep and Tatis, and they went, "No, there's a few problems there, but the wings are amazing." And then next one up was the British team.
Yeah.
Now they get it, and the first thing is they start going, and the tone was incredible. They went, "Oh, foil, that's ridiculous. Although you never serve me in foil. I would hate that in foil. The one thing I always say is if you go see the foil, I'm like, okay, right."
Who has ever bought a baked potato
and complained about the foil?
From those baked potato places and complained about the fucking foil?
Secondly, they go, these garnishes, they just look like it's bacon, but it looks a bit sad. Why didn't they sprinkle some lovely sunflower seeds over the top? And time out. George.
Your bullshit is showing, George.
Shut the fuck up. Sunflower seeds. British cuisine. Sunflower seeds. What the actual fuck do you think British cuisine is? You gave them a truck and said you have to make British cuisine, and then complained that they made British cuisine. And this is, again, it's not about Ben. Like, people go, "Oh, it's about Ben." No, it wasn't about Ben. I thought Ben and Tim got robbed. And that's saying something, because I haven't been Tim's biggest fan. But they were fucking robbed.
And they were right on the money. Like, with their choices, when they said what they were doing, I'm like, that's smart. I'd go and I'd get, like, a roast meat roll. That sounds good. And even that wasn't good enough.
If you look at it last night, the smart move for making money was the wings, and that was why the Korean team made it through, because those wings, suck it, by the way, guys, the Korean team's wings were better because more people bought them. So, suck it. I was happy about that. I mean, I thought their bulgogi was shit, but the fact that their wings sold more was, yay.
Smart.
And, look, they might have been in trouble had they not sold the most for the bulgogi. That might have put them in elimination.
Yeah.
I thought that the British team was fucked over.
Yeah.
And, okay, we've avoided them long enough. Steph and Larissa.
Who I thought were on fire. Like, watching Steph, I'm like, how the fuck are you going to make pho?
Was that...
I always say it incorrectly.
Was that a deliberate pun, by the way, when you said that you thought that Steph and Larissa were on fire?
No, it wasn't, but no, I know.
Good neck minute.
Neck minute.
Okay.
Here we are.
So, the MasterChef Fireball has claimed a few victims in its time.
They were really just getting ready for the promo.
Well, that was the problem, because they went from that into the promo. It looked like the van exploded. So we got very much into a 90s action movie for a minute there. So they're cooking, and then we get possibly the least energetic fire call I've ever heard. I love you, Steph. But
help.
It was
Help.
Fire. We've got a fire in here. Help! A bit of a fire.
Oh, Larissa, we better go.
And they casually walk out and stand at the front of their queue like they're about to buy something. And George comes over, and George is going in to save the day. And the next thing you know, George goes up to the door. And then the producer walks past him, and the producer goes in there and goes and puts the fire out. And then they're standing out there talking about, and Steph goes, that's our pork burning. And I'm like, that's their van burning. You've borrowed this van off somebody. That's their livelihood going up in flames. And it's just burning away. And they're like, oh, that's our dinner burning, our pork. What are we going to serve? And then George goes, oh, we can't possibly, because, I mean, look, the fire extinguishers, and at that point, the whole kitchen just goes white.
Yeah.
As the spray's going. And at which point they're like, oh, okay, yeah, well, we can't. We can't do it. And then...
This fur is foamy.
And then George asks the next weird question. Who amongst us hasn't burnt a food truck down?
I can safely raise my hand. Never have I ever burnt a food truck down.
He says it like my first time I ever set fire to a kitchen.
I remember
500 guests. Yes. And they're like, and I'm like, is that supposed to make them feel better? The way that I interpreted that, and I tweeted this out last night, was George was saying, who amongst us hasn't burnt a food truck down, deliberately or otherwise?
And the last thing we want to do is make our guests sick, because Hellenic Republic have not...
They've never done that before.
They've never done that before.
Never have they got in trouble for it.
No.
I felt bad for the people whose truck they borrowed.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. The truck got burnt really badly.
He's hoping they had good insurance.
Yeah. So, now you started a count last night.
I did.
It was a very important count for the audience at home.
It was, I wanted to make sure that whether or not people should drink or not. And, I wasn't sure if it was actually him talking because I haven't heard his fucking voice. But Waleed came out, first of all, with 4 words, and then secondly with 5 words. Now, I can't remember what they were because I was in absolute fucking shock.
She was. It was hilarious.
That a camera had been pointed at him when he was talking, and 2, it made it past the editor.
I wonder if the editor's a member of, a family of someone Waleed once dated.
Yeah.
Who's just nah.
You are dead to this MasterChef.
So, he got to 9 words.
Whoa.
It was incredible.
You know what? After tonight, with Tim gone, it won't matter because Abby will just take over as our narrator.
Now, my favourite tweet last night was Marco, who said, you raised $5,000. But there was $5,500 damage caused to the food truck. So now, my last question before we move on to tonight's episode.
Yep.
My last question
yes.
was, if you could pick any cuisine,
yes,
and any dish to make out of those food trucks,
yes,
for any of those, which one would it be?
Oh, did I answer this already? No. Look, I think I'm going to have to go Chinese because that's my strength.
I would have made...
Yeah.
I would have used the British van.
Yep.
I would have gone Scottish.
Oh, actually, no, I'd go American. Yep, you go.
I would have gone Scottish.
Deep fried Mars bars.
No, better than that.
Deep fried haggis.
Better than that.
Deep fried Scotchman.
Better than that.
Naked Jamie Fraser.
Better than that.
That would be $5,000 raised right there.
So, what I would go with, and I've mentioned this before on the podcast, it's the most insane calorie counting dish in mankind's history. It's the stoner.
Oh my God, the deep fried doner kebab.
Deep fried pork sausage doner kebab.
That's right.
Take a pork sausage, wrap it in kebab meat, put all the salads on there, wrap it up in the bread, batter it, deep fry it. It's 3 days worth of calories in one setting. Just imagine that.
That's crazy.
I would sell dozens.
I'm going to have to suggest this to some of our MND people.
Not hundreds, dozens.
Dozens, yeah.
Because, no one's finishing it.
No.
Your dish.
Okay, so I've changed my mind. I'm going American. I'm going to do a loaded hot dog. So, I'd make a small batch of really intense chili, just some chopped white onions.
Real chili, not the...
Real chili, none of that other shit. Some kind of relish, so maybe something really soury to cut through, and then just people can then mix and match what they want on top. Maybe a really cool mustard mayo or something like that to...
That would be cool.
Yeah, because I'm sure they would have had, if not hot dogs, then some like German sausages back there or something that you could substitute.
Clearly they only had chili.
Your choice is chili.
Kevin's famous chili. I would have rather had Kevin's famous chili.
Although, oh my God, what's her facey? Honey's Creole Kitchen. Tony suggested the most amazing stuff. Just go look at her Twitter account, because I looked at it, I went, yep, I'm going to your van, because it sounded so good. It was like collared greens and all this gorgeous shit. Anyway.
Which brings us to tonight. So, tonight in the elimination,
yes,
we have Tim, we have Ben, we have Larissa,
yes,
we have Steph. It kind of felt, I'm not going to lie, this challenge felt like they were lining up Steph to go.
Yes.
I mentioned this last night, the idea of a memory challenge with somebody who has already said publicly that they suffer anxiety and has proven that if they get a little bit flustered, they'll freeze up. It feels a little bit like they were looking for that moment.
Yeah.
The other problem is it feels a lot like they were trying to, again, create a second narrative.
Yep.
And they thought that either Steph or Ben were going to go home.
Yep. They
really
thought that
did Larissa
feel that
would 100% be safe, and they thought that Tim would 100% be safe. And it's not how it turned out. They were in Tim was in trouble from word go. Larissa, she ended up in a lot of trouble, and I tweeted that about halfway through when she was flying. I went, I think Larissa's sneaking in trouble here, because I saw her put the other in the blast chiller.
Yeah, and then you had Nicole go, but I see Steph with hers on the bench still.
One of them's wrong, and I don't know which one. Now, before we get into the nuance of the challenge, because I'm not even going to really bother about getting into the nuance of the challenge, that was the fucking dumbest challenge they've ever done.
It was essentially cooking Kim's game. Now, I don't know, you wouldn't be aware of what Kim's game is, but it was a thing that Lord Baden-Powell invented to help his scouts, the original scouts. I'm not talking Boy Scouts, who did take it up, and concurrently Girl Guides, but or subsequently, I should say. But the original scouts were young African boys that he used legitimately during the Boer War to run errands and deliver messages. So to help them improve their mind, he'd do a Kim's game, which is on a tray under a cloth. You put a whole bunch of objects, and then you lift up the cloth, and the people have to look at the objects, and you put it down after 20 seconds, and they've got to write down as many objects as they can remember. So it was a challenge of observation and memory, and I really felt like this was Masterchef Kim's game.
But you couldn't fucking write any of it down.
No, you couldn't.
And you then had to get into a car and go to a different venue and then replicate it.
Yep.
With a gantry of people screaming at you when you walked in the door.
Well, there was no gantry. It was more like just a mob around you.
It was weird.
Just a crowd.
They didn't even fence them off.
It was like an art gallery. Like they were
an art installation.
They were an art installation.
But in all honesty, it was
memory in motion.
It was the dumbest challenge they've done, because it didn't really have much to do with cooking. It was, could you remember shit or not? It was just, it was stupid. I don't know what Matt Preston's doing the whole, in a kitchen, you've got to remember dishes. Not after one time of making them, you don't. Like, it's muscle memory and it's over years. It's not a case of look at it once, there you go, now you've got to remember the dish for the rest of your life. That's not how this works.
No.
All right? That was ridiculously unfair on what they did. Now, the montage was probably sped up, but the way they played that montage, if he was even a tenth that quick, ridiculous.
Yeah.
Absolutely stupid.
Lots of kudos to Larissa, who remembered a lot of it and did the best. I was just so
No, Steph ended up doing the best.
No, Larissa did. Because Larissa got the whole, I would serve this in the restaurant. And Steph did really fucking well.
I will maintain that Steph did the best, and we'll get into why in a minute.
Okay.
Right? But that fit in a little bit to the narrative. Because I got the feeling they were trying to keep her very safe.
Now, Ben was so hardcore in ninja mode that Tim didn't fucking notice him.
And used his bench.
And everyone's like, Tim, you're at the wrong bench. Tim, and then after a moment he's gone, oh.
Now, there's no point going through the steps.
Sorry.
There's no point going through the steps of the challenge, in all honesty, because it wasn't really that important. The only important point that you need to understand is there's a couple of them. One was Ben had his first batch of cream and his first batch of ganache split.
So he remade them.
Remade them with some double hand whisking skills that were very impressive. Second thing you need to understand about what happened was...
A lot of thirst on Twitter for that.
Well, there's a lot of thirst.
A lot of thirst.
Yeah, so...
Not looking at you, Brandon, but I am.
Yeah, 100%. So what was next and very important that you need to remember in this challenge was Larissa, as we said before, set her mousse and put it into the blast chiller. And Steph didn't.
Yep.
And they were like, one of them's wrong. We don't know which one of them's wrong. It turns out Larissa was wrong. Because you needed the mousse to be soft enough that you could put the sponge you were making into it so it would set together. Now, then Larissa got it and went, oh, damn it, I've screwed this up. I don't know what I can do now. And sat there waiting for it. And I'm like, why not, either heat the bench up a little bit or put a little bit of warm water and slightly melt the mousse so you can push it in there and then reset it fast.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why I say that I actually think that Steph did a better job than Larissa is she fucked up that very major step. And when you look at what she served, it didn't look like, in terms of his was a straight bar. Hers was sort of the little mini balloon in the middle. It looked like a balloon in the middle.
Right,
and it looked slightly it looked like someone had aspect ratioed it, so it was normal size, and then someone had played with the aspect ratio settings, and the next thing you know, it had slightly bulged, and it didn't look the same apart from the twirl on her chocolate, which she draped over the top, looked the same.
And you know they're like, oh, we're being nitpicky about Ben's because it was slightly on an angle, and it's like, well, everyone's was slightly off except for Steph's bar, which was perfectly straight.
Yeah, again, Larissa's was out by a fair bit, and they started talking that up. And that's what I got worried about. And then when the flavours, he's like, oh, flavour-wise, I would have that served in my restaurant. Which did lead me to ask the question, does he remember his own dish? Because it really wasn't what she made, really wasn't his dish. Maybe he's fake.
He's not real, Shannon?
Yeah, maybe the real...
Matt Hopcroft in a, it's like they just flew him in and did up a lot of...
Got to be. Has to be.
CGI.
Only way it could be.
Hologram.
Only way it could be. So they then brought Shannon in, by the way, and it looked like, when he stood near George, that it looked like long-lost brothers had been found.
Oh, do you mean Gary?
Gary, yeah.
Yeah.
They look like long-lost brothers.
He really did.
They looked very familiar to each other. So we then worked out that Larissa was the one who fucked it up. Larissa looked like she was in a lot of trouble. Poor Tim at no point looked safe.
No.
Tim just looked fucked from word go.
Yeah.
And just kept looking, going, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing.
No.
I don't know. I can't work this one out. So we got to the plating, we got to the end of the challenge, and Steph's worked.
Yep.
Perfectly. So Steph was safe and there was no danger on Steph.
No, that's bias there, my love. There was a little bit of critique that the flavours weren't quite...
No, Steph still liked, and Steph was always safe from moment one.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, Steph was safe from moment one. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Steph was safe. Mm-hmm. Larissa, they said, was the dish of the day, which... Sure, why not? Then we had Ben, And look, Ben's biggest problem was the chocolate, which didn't look the same. And they said his flavours were a little bit...
And his bar was a little bit wobbly. Like it was a little... it was a leaning bar of chocolate.
The leaning bar of chocolate. Sadness.
But the way the judges said it, it was like it was as if he'd shat on the plate.
It was an abomination.
And drew a smiley face in it.
And then tried to drape a chocolate twirl over it.
Exactly. It was if he just couldn't. He'd served a triangle instead of a bar.
I was trying to soften it up, but it's true. The weird part about it tonight was Ben's looked fine, and they really just dumped all over it.
Yeah.
As opposed to Tim, who walks in and openly says, this is a bit shit. And then they go, what are you worried about? And he lists like 5 things.
I don't know if I got the amaretto on it.
The ganache didn't set. That didn't set. This is a bit... I don't really like that cake. I don't really... And they start, they taste it, and it's melted, and it's not set properly. And they taste it, and they all pull weird faces.
Yeah.
And then you get the good music.
I know.
When they go, that chocolate over the top is the best chocolate we've seen. And I'm like, that's a fucking decoration, you morons.
Yeah.
And it was at one point they were trying desperately
to convince
Shannon that maybe this was salvageable.
Yeah, like it's not as bad as Ben's, because and he's like, I wanted to pull my eyeballs out.
This is terrible.
And just stamp on them, and maybe the pain of seeing my dish done a disservice would have been less.
So the judging tonight became...
I wanted to take a razor and scrape off my taste buds and then, dunk my head in acid to relieve the pain of my dish being done a disservice.
So the judging tonight felt a lot... So, but like last night, there was a narrative to be made. And after Steph's, because they realised they really couldn't do anything with Steph's, it was good.
Yeah.
Larissa, they start to build a narrative about how good it is, and they sort of started to plant it before Shannon even tasted it.
Yep.
And so when Shannon tasted it and said it was great, you could almost sit and go, well, that worked. Then the second Ben puts it down, they start telling him how shit it is.
Yeah.
And again, for people going, it's defending Ben. No. Go back and look at that judging. He puts down something that looks pretty close. It's just that his chocolate's not as curly. And they just start ripping it to pieces.
Yep.
Then Tim plates what is, in effect, a unfinished dessert. Mm-hmm. And they're trying desperately to talk their way out of it.
The bias is real, and it comes down to cisgendered, tall, robust white man.
In this case, it wasn't even about that.
You reckon?
Because that's who they sent home.
I know, but that's who they were trying to say.
But no, they wanted Ben gone.
They did want Ben gone, or Steph. It was fucking obvious.
Well, they wanted to keep Larissa. They were desperate to keep Larissa under any circumstances they could.
Yeah.
They wanted to keep Larissa and they wanted to keep Tim. So they didn't really care which one of the other two they took out. No. And it felt like this challenge was there to take out a Ben or a Steph.
Yep.
It felt like that was the target.
And I'm so glad that they just did it.
And they missed. Yep. They missed who they wanted and they got the wrong person. And Ben wore it, Tim wore it, and Tim has to go home. And look, I feel bad for Tim. One, he probably shouldn't have been in the challenge in the first place.
No.
And then 2, the challenge was horrendous and he shouldn't have had to do it.
Yeah.
So those 2 things actually, again, it's horrible, but it actually makes me feel bad for Tim.
It does. And, we've seen it before on MasterChef where it's just wrong time, wrong day, wrong time for some people for the challenge, and, skilled people with, a passion and whatever go home too early.
And it's very rare you find a day where the day for the challenge involves, I'm going to remember 15 billion steps of a dessert and then go on a drive and walk into a room full of people yelling at me to push every 2.5 seconds.
Oh my God, push. Although I did love Tati with her slight accent. It sounded like she was calling Ben a cat, like puss. And it's just so cute.
Got the saucer of milk. The other thing I want to say tonight is Steph and her moment of Bake Off. When Larissa is in deep shit. And Larissa's in deep shit. And it's not working. And Steph just comes over and gives her a big hug and goes, you've got this, you can do it.
Aww.
That was really awesome.
Couple of years, Steph, you'll be able to audition for Bake Off.
I mean, the most annoying part about the episode for me, outside of the judging, was that they call Larissa Larry.
Yeah.
It was awkward. Come on, Larry.
Oh, Lordy.
Whoa. Push, 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 push. It's a dessert.
It's a twirl. Chocolate twirl.
Sorry, Joe. Didn't want to mention a twirl, but here we are.
I know.
But no, the creation of the narrative is a real thing. I'm worried about what the rest of Queensland Week's going to offer. If they've started the narrative, and again, I understand why they kind of want to build their show now the way they want.
Yeah.
Which probably will mean that we're going to see a bit more of this. I hope not. I'd like to avoid it, but I think we're going to see it.
The honeymoon is over, baby. It's never going to be the same again.
So that's your lot for this week.
Did I tell you at the time that I was at a Tex Perkins show?
No.
And I got a bit like hot and flustered, and I'd been like on my feet all
no,
day.
you have told me this yet, but please.
And I said to my friends throughout the show, I'm like, I need to go outside. I'll catch a bus home, it's fine. But there were no buses coming, so I just had to wait for my friends to finish, and then I'd get a lift home with them. And I went around to the side door because I was trying to wave at them to tell them I'm still here, don't leave without me. And fucking the set ends, and Tex Perkins and his cronies come stumbling out of the park. And the arrogance of this dude who looks down at me like I'm some crazed fan trying to, like, I don't know, mob and accost him before. And I'm just like, I moved him out of the way and I'm waving to my friends who finally noticed me.
See, every story I've ever heard about Tex Perkins is like every story I ever heard about Doc Neeson, which involves him walking off stage and kissing the first person he found. So, luckily that wasn't you. Yeah.
I wouldn't have objected.
No, but he would have looked down at you like you were a peon.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I'm not down for this.
That's
dude.
not romance.
I'm like, I kind of have a bit of self-esteem, and I need some love. I just want to be loved.
And you've got your friends, and you want to go home with your friends.
And I wanted to get home with my friends and go to bed. I've probably had a big day of practice. Oh, that's right, we're doing pracs. Oh my god. Thank fuck I don't have to be a uni student again.
That's a positive.
Yeah, sorry everyone, I really brought that mood down. That went in a weird direction.
So with that bit of reminiscing, that's a lot for this episode.
And it's a shame that Tim couldn't bar up tonight.
I tried to bar up.
Larissa barred up. Steph barred up.
And again...
Even Ben barred up. Little wonky, he's still barred up.
Still counts as barring up. Look, and again, if you want more examples of that great work, check out the cult Australian classic Houseboat Horror, which features Gavin Wood, the former announcer for Countdown, who runs out and yells at the characters at one point, "Oh, come out and have a look at this, you'll bar up." One of the great movie moments in cinema history, I think.
And one of the greatest quotes ever used on Get This.
So, anyway, that's your lot for this episode. We will be back on Thursday night where we will have an immunity pin challenge covered. We will have a Wednesday night team challenge covered. And we will have a Thursday night elimination covered.
Yeah.
3 things for the price of, well, nothing. You're not paying for this. I mean, if you want to, feel free. But
fucking freeloaders.
Yeah, you're all freeloaders. But we love you. All right. Until next episode.
So much. Oh, and thanks for our gift, Josh.
Oh, yes. Thank you for our gift.
The gift of GIF keeps on gifting.
Last night, before we wrap it up, Josh last night was talking about the fact that he was making his gifts for Joe.
And Aldo and Khan.
It started an argument with Khan and everyone else talking about how great their gifts were and Josh needs to make a gift for them, and they were fighting back and forward. And I just waded through the middle and went, "Oi, we've got a video clip out there. Where the hell's our GIF?"
Yeah. So we're gift.
And we've got one. So you would have seen it tonight on the podcast announcement, is we've got our gift from our chat at Ungerman Brothers.
Yes. Ice cream and gifts.
Ice cream and gifts. Nothing quite like it. Maybe barring up. Right. Until then, I'm still Chris.
And I'm still Kristie.
We'll catch you all Thursday night.
You'll bar up.
Push.